And we have a new definition for microbes. Microbes are just soluble bags of fertilizer. They're just soluble bags of fertilizer. You have to continually feed them. And if you continually feed them, they continually recycle the nutrients. And microbes bring in nitrogen, they bring in phosphorus, so they bring in micronutrients, they bring in water, and they actually protect that plant from other harmful microbes.
Tak ada petani yang ingin nutrisi yang mereka berikan pada tanah terkikis dengan cepat atau bahkan hilang begitu saja. Terkikisnya nutrisi mudah terjadi jika tanah dibiarkan kosong. Dr. Joe Dwicker dari Pennsylvania akan menjelaskan bagaimana cover crop dapat menjamin bahwa nutrisi yang diberikan oleh petani tidak terkikis dan tetap berada di dalam tanah.
You know, in Pennsylvania, a special characteristic of our state is that we are very heavily reliant on the dairy sector, and our farms, they spread manure, and they spread it at times when there might not be living vegetation in the field. So the water-soluble portion of the nutrients can easily be lost. And we, being a large part of our state, is in the Chesapeake Bay watershed. So we are under scrutiny. There's a lot of concern about nutrient losses to the rivers, to the streams, and eventually to the Chesapeake Bay. There are basically two periods during the year that we lose a lot of nutrients. One is in the fall. There's a little peak, and then most of the, especially nitrogen loss, occurs in the spring. That time, April, May, when we come out of the winter, the soil starts to thaw, the soil saturated, mineralization is taking place, and now we get leaching through the soil profile. A lot of nitrogen is then lost to groundwater, and that eventually then through lateral flow ends up in the streams. So what we are trying to do is to have living cover crops that take up all those nutrients, the water-soluble nutrients, nitrogen primarily, is made available, and it's then absorbed by the roots. It's like a sponge, a continuous sponge that is there. We have evaluated the nutrient uptake, and what we can find in the above ground biomass, depending on growing conditions and the type of cover crop, but it can be even 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre into the above ground vegetation only. So that makes up typically perhaps 80% of the total plant biomass. The rest is underground. All that would otherwise have been liable to loss. So what we are normally considering when we grow a full corn crop, we might assume that that corn crop needs 150 pounds of nitrogen, perhaps 200 pounds of nitrogen per acre. Okay. So we are trying to really stimulate that cycling of those nutrients and avoiding them from being lost from the system. We would like to see every acre of corn silage in the state be followed with cover crops. No more fallow after corn silage.
Ketika ada yang mengatakan pada Anda bahwa membajak tanah adalah sesuatu yang buruk dalam pertanian, mungkin sebagian orang tidak percaya. Walaupun faktanya memang seperti itulah adanya. Membajak tanah dapat mempengaruhi kesuburan tanah untuk jangka panjang. So, mari bertemu dengan dua orang ilmuwan dari Ohio State. Mereka akan menjelaskan problematika ini dari sisi ilmu pengetahuan.
We're trying to tell the farmers that you cannot solve your problems with steel. You can spend a lot of money on steel, and even with a subsoiler that may have minimal surface disturbance, it's really not solving the problem. You know, we're seeing that soil structure can be better solved by using natural rooting systems through our cover crops or continuous no-till from the cropping systems. And we have some other experiments here that are proving that. We have some compaction plots comparing subsoil steel versus living cover crops. We're purposely compacting these plots in the fall under moist soil conditions by using a grain cart and going back and forth over the plots and forcing that compaction. And then the cover crops are planted, and then we're comparing that to using a subsoiler, and our yields are showing better results with the cover crops. And of course, when you get some heavy rains, you can see standing water problems, you know, that show up between the compaction levels of the plots also that way. And the cover crops are outdoing the steel.
When you look at a soil, you have to look at the components. And the major component of most soil is sand, silt, and clay. Now, that makes up about 45% of a really good soil.
Yes.
The other part of the soil, what we tend to forget about, is it should be pore space. Almost 50% of a really good soil is pore space. But then the most important part of a soil is the organic matter. That's like your head and your brains. That controls most of the chemical reactions, and most of the life is with that organic matter. You know, when you start to till a soil, what you do is you burn up the organic matter. So in the last 100 to 150 years through tillage, we've lost probably at least 60% of our organic matter. Some studies say as much as 80% of the organic matter is going right up into the atmosphere. And this is a good area because this was the Black Swamp in northwest Ohio. When the first settlers came here, they said our soil was as black as midnight. And when you look at the soil now, you'll see that it's not as black, it's actually kind of a brown. It's lost its color, so it's lost a lot of its organic matter. I like to tell farmers that a lot of times when you till the soil, you turn it into cement mix. Okay, and so the soil gets very hard and dense. And one of the things that we've learned is that if I was going to drill into cement, I would start with a small drill and then use a bigger drill to go through it. And so that's what we do with the cover crops. The cover crops actually have very fine roots and they form a small hole. And then we follow that with corn and soybeans. And those corn and soybeans will follow those same channels down through the soil. And they also follow earthworm holes because earthworms are fairly big and they're also enriched with nutrients. And so those roots just really proliferate around those earthworm holes. And that's how we then can actually loosen the soil up, is it's the roots that loosen the soil up and give that carbon to the soil, and also is a storehouse for all the nutrients in the water.
Saat memasuki masa musim panas yang kering, fungsi hidrologi tanah memegang peran yang sangat penting. Mari kembali ke Dr. Elon Kladivko untuk mengetahui peran besar dari cacing tanah dalam meningkatkan fungsi hidrologi di dalam tanah dan apa dampak positif yang akan mereka berikan bagi tanaman.
In general, our soils are excessively wet in the spring, and that's more of our issue, and that's why we use tile drainage and things like that. But what I'm getting at really is that the night crawlers in particular can be very important for getting infiltration of water into the soil during the growing season. So when we get those quick thunderstorms in the middle of the summer, we usually want all that water to go in, because that's not when we have excess water. So we want the water to go into the soil, but especially with soils that are high silt, sometimes you can get crusting.
Yes.
And you have less crusting, of course, if you're in no-till.
Yes.
But if you have a lot of night crawlers, those deep channels that the night crawlers make can really help get water into the soil profile where you have a chance for your crop to use it, as opposed to having it run off. You know, an extra inch or two of water in a lot of our summers makes a big difference in yield.
Yes, yes, okay, all right.
And I happen to have a few demonstrations of some night crawlers, if you'd like to see, of night crawler channels, if you'd like to see those.
I would love to see them.
So this is my technician a number of years ago went out and poured the liquid rubber latex, basically, that you use in biology classes on an area where there were some night crawler middens.
Yes.
And then he came back a couple days later after it had hardened, and he carefully dug it out, and you can see these were night crawler channels all in this 1 square foot area, and you can see that basically those channels are going down. They've broken a little bit now in the meantime, but some of these channels were down 3 feet deep.
Okay.
And just imagine water flowing across the surface and into these channels, how much water can flow down those big and deep channels.
Right.
And they're very vertical, you can see.
Fokus utama petani dalam membudidayakan tanaman adalah hanya sebatas pada apa yang diambil oleh tanaman dari tanah, baik itu nutrisi, karbon, air, oksigen, dan lain-lain. Namun bagaimana jika itu semua hanya sedikit dari seluruh cerita yang diketahui oleh petani? Jim Horman dari Ohio State University Extension akan memberitahu pada Anda seluruh cerita yang tak diketahui oleh petani.
You know, I like to tell farmers that I'm a lazy farmer. And I just like to let the microbes and the earthworms do the work for them. The only thing you have to do is you have to feed them. And the way you feed them is through the roots. A typical plant will give up anywhere from 25 to 45% of its total carbohydrate reserves just to feed those microbes. That plant actually farms the microbes. It sends out hormones to communicate with them, and it attracts certain microbes to that plant. These microbes bring in nitrogen, they bring in phosphorus, they bring in micronutrients, they bring in water, and they actually protect that plant from other harmful microbes. Well, that's what the plants and the microbes do together, is they improve that soil because this is their home, and so they make it a better place to live. What we've found is that typically when you go to a no-till system, it takes about 7 to 9 years to convert. Well, one of the things we found is once we started using cover crops, I'll use Dave Brandt as an example. Dave had no-tilled for 15 to 20 years, and Dave said it wasn't until I started using cover crops that I really started to improve my soil. And the reason being is you're capturing sunlight and you have to feed those microbes 12 months of the year. So if you have live roots 12 months of the year, you're feeding them, plus now you're getting 2 sets of roots. So you've got your main crop, corn or soybeans, plus you've added the second crop. And we know that a majority of the organic matter in the soil comes from the roots. And we have a new definition for microbes. Microbes are just soluble bags of fertilizer, okay? They're just soluble bags of fertilizer. You have to continually feed them. And if you continually feed them, they continually recycle the nutrients. And then when they die, the plant takes some of those nutrients and takes it up, keeps it into a longer form of carbon, puts it into the proteins that can then be converted. And so it's just a continuous cycle is what it is.
Okay. Kita sudah sampai di penghujung bagian kedua. Semoga seluruh informasi yang disajikan bermanfaat bagi Anda. Kita berjumpa lagi di bagian ketiga. Terima kasih.